The SEC is delaying the Bitcoin ETF by Trump Media, and this could also have impact on the staked CRO ETF. So what is going on? Well guys, I would say let's strap in and let's find out. This video is sponsored by Todin, a new Web3 shopping page coming soon to Cronos. The Cronos ETF submission has been one of the major milestones of the Crypto.com roadmap. But as you can see, it was originally planned for Q4 of 2025, but it has already been completed. As we can also see here on this tweet by Cointelegraph, because here you can read that the Canary filed the S1 for the SEC with the staked CRO ETF. And this has been done already on May 30th. And around the time of this CRO ETF submission, we also got this news here. Trump's Truth Social takes next step in launching the spot Bitcoin ETF. And the spot Bitcoin ETF is going to be custodied by no one less than Crypto.com. And this news was on June 5th of 2025. But we can read here that the SEC today delays the decision on the Truth Social Bitcoin ETF. The crypto funds face new delays as the SEC pushes review deadlines into September and October. And we can read it's not only this Truth Social Bitcoin ETF, but in some different files, we can also see that, for example, the Grayscale Solana Trust and the Canary Capital Litecoin ETF are also being postponed. But let's read some more quickly about this SEC decision, because originally it was due for decision by August 4th. A delay, though, doesn't necessarily mean that this ETF will be denied. In the past, we've seen numerous examples of ETFs being postponed and postponed and postponed by the SEC just to get to a final decision 270 days after the original submission, because that's the max amount of days they can take to approve or deny an ETF. With that in mind, though, let's take a quick look at the estimated timeline for the CRO ETF, because here we've got a list of all events to get to that final approval of the CRO ETF. And it all starts on May 30th, and then the timer starts ticking. Then we have a max amount of 270 days to get to the final approval or denial of the ETF. So May 30th, it all began. But now we are already in July of 2025. And what is interesting is that now we have gotten to the end of the 45-day SEC review period. So now, guys, we should have come to at least some kind of decision. Do we need an extension? Do we have any comments regarding the ETF submission? So that already happened, I think, on the 15th of July. So now we should have at least some more information about what is going to happen. But if you take a look at the Edgar database by the SEC, we can see that for the Canary Stake CRO ETF, we have not gotten anything yet regarding any additional extension or anything like that. So still, it seems like we've gotten to the next phase already, which is quite exciting. So what do we see at this point? Well, we do expect that now they might be working on potential comments. So the SEC probably has given some comments, and now we're waiting for amendments by Crypto.com and also the other issuers. And you do see here, issuer likely files amendments in response to the SEC feedback, similar to recent crypto ETF filings like Solana and Sui. And the timeline there, estimated again, is August to September. So I do believe, guys, in the next few days, we'll see maybe the second filing appear here for the, well, Crypto.com or CRO staked CRO ETF. So very interesting. I will keep you guys up to date. So don't forget to hit the like button and strap in. If you get some more news, then I will make you up to date with a new video. But okay, after that August-September timeframe, we go into the October-November timeframe, where we see the further SEC review and potential final amendments. The approval decision possibly then is within 4 to 6 months of the filing. That does kind of align with the streamlined crypto ETF timeline. So guys, what they're trying to do at the SEC, they're getting so many requests for crypto ETFs. So they're trying to get to a simple framework that every ETF that has something to do with crypto goes through the same framework, so they can actually speed up the whole process so they don't have to wait for 270 days. So that's kind of what they're hoping for. They're still working on this with the SEC, but they haven't gotten there yet. However, what they might try to do now with, for example, here, this Truth Social ETF that has been delayed, they might be trying to do that. They actually get this framework ready So in September of 2025, they can actually approve this within the framework. And then in that case, well, also maybe the CRO ETF might be approved a bit earlier than expected. But so far, approval probably is expected now in December of 2025. The expected SEC approval for staking inclusive ETF, following the patterns like, for example, the injective stake ETF earlier in 2025. And then they do expect that after the approval, we can soon start the launch of the actual ETF, so people can start trading the CRO ETF on, for example, their favorite stock exchange or on the Crypto.com app. The estimated approval for the CRO ETF does align nicely with a potential bull market ending in Q4 of 2025. But let's talk a bit more about that after the quick word of today's sponsor. Todin is completely changing the game for online shopping with their latest price comparison tool. You can find all the products with the cheapest price available and also with a bit of a Web3 twist. Soon they will be launching their own token as well on the Cronos chain, and you can find a lot more information on their white paper as well. Guys, the links to Todin will be in the description down below. Anyways, let's talk some more about the CRO ETF, because as mentioned earlier, it is one of the major catalysts for the second half of 2025 to bring CRO to those high levels. But why is this ETF so bullish? In the most recent AMA with Chris Marszalek, he does mention that currently CRO is mainly meant for retail investors, so like you and me, but he's also looking for different demand from institutions. And institutions typically don't download the Crypto.com on-chain wallet. They don't get actual CRO on-chain. They want a safer product, like for example an ETF, and they don't mind if they pay a few fees for that. They want a safe, secure product like an ETF. And with that ETF, we can now start to get more demand from institutions. Moreover, Chris Marszalek envisions Cronos to be part of a bigger strategic reserve asset. So we can see, for example, now MicroStrategy or Strategy hoarding loads and loads of Bitcoin, and also SharpLink hoarding loads and loads of Ethereum. And we see the same thing now also occurring for the BNB token by Binance. So now, of course, the question is, what company will start to hoard the CRO token as well? And I think once we get that ETF approval, it becomes also for those companies a lot easier to get their reserve of CRO tokens. Because again, as we mentioned earlier, those companies, they don't want to hold the actual CRO tokens, they want ETFs. Finally, I want to talk about the other ETF submitted by Trump Media, which is the Crypto Blue Chip ETF. And this ETF does also include 5% of the CRO token, but also, of course, 75% of Bitcoin. This ETF was just submitted on the 9th of July, so it's not yet due for any delay. But once it goes live, this is also insanely bullish for CRO. If you take a look at all the current Bitcoin ETFs, we see a lot of big ones available. For example, IBIT currently has a market cap of about 87 billion, but also FBTC, 20 billion, not 20 billion. Let's assume now a bit of speculation here that in the bull market, we do see also that this ETF, this Crypto Blue Chip ETF, is getting about a $10 billion market cap. Well, in that case, due to the 5% inclusion of CRO, we'll see $500 million inflow into CRO. And $500 million into a token, that is only about $5 billion market cap. That can be huge for the CRO token, guys. So I want to hear more about this ETF. If you get any delay also, I will make sure you guys are up to date. If you, by the way, want to learn more about this blue chip ETF, don't forget to also check this video to the right of me.